Sunny Bonani Dumalang Hoyant, afternoon, bon dia. Welcome to episode 37, You Lush and Delicious Human. So, welcome back. Once again, this is the second time I'm doing this recording because 2 minutes into my 26-minute recording, the sound. So, we're attempting this again. But let's perhaps approach it from a different perspective so I don't feel all the feels that sometimes come with a second recording because of a technological mishap, So every so often I'm just going to be checking to see if this recorder is actually on and if it's flickering in my bosom over here. So if you caught yesterday's episode, you would have seen how yesterday saw me navigating some pretty dense, thick, and darker emotions. I was feeling all the feelings of not enoughness, feelings of like I should be doing more. What is the point? What is the purpose? What's this existence about? I guess those kinds of feelings. It's not something new. And, whenever you think you've navigated through it and you've managed to resolve some of those aspects and elements, life's always going to just take you a layer deeper. It's like life for me is just a spiral, and you start to spiral out and then you start to spiral back in again. And when you get to the center, you come back out again, and then life kind of like pushes you back into that little Fibonacci sequence there. So yes, yesterday saw me being a little, I guess some people would say dramatic, traumatic, I don't know, probably a little bit of both. But I, in the spirit of authenticity, felt it's also important to share the shit days. I can't just show up here on the great days, So what I'd like to share today is an extension of yesterday. And it's in the sentiment of just trusting where you are at this particular point in time. I'm telling myself this, like I have to remind myself this, that, the Almighty Creator has a macro level view of my micro level world, right? And I just got to keep showing up as best as I know how, best as I am intuitively guided and called to, regardless of what other people think. But in my own beingness and in my own knowingness, how do I feel I need to show up day to day, breath by breath? And I do want to share a little story with you because it actually is a nice follow-up to yesterday and how I was feeling. So yesterday, after my vlog and my post here with you guys, I was called, quite literally. The forest was like, Monica! So we have a little coastal forest just down the way from where I stay. And I used to go and play my handpan in the forest very, very often. But the summer mosquitoes can be a real bitch. Okay. And I haven't been playing in there for quite some time. But I do want to share two stories with you regarding the power of the pan and the lesson or the reminder that she's offered me on 2 occasions in light of the fact that she was calling me into the forest yesterday. So yesterday I went into the forest and I just jammed on my pan for a little while. I felt leaving a little bit lighter. Felt like I'd managed to move a little bit of energy. Wasn't feeling as dense, and sorry for myself. And I would also want to remind people or remind you that nature is the best nourisher, at least for me, and nurturer. And whenever I'm feeling really down, I love to just be in nature. And especially over the past couple of years, my life has taken a complete 180. I've gone from being this entrepreneur, person who was always in the corporate world, independent, to being complete opposite. I walk around barefoot all day. I do embodiment sessions with magical humans, dress like this. as opposed to high heels and sexy little outfits, which I do on the odd occasion still miss. And yeah, so my life is just very, very different. And I think yesterday was also just like, yeah, perhaps a litmus test of like where I was, where I'm going, where I am kind of scenario. So the handpan and being in the forest. Sorry, I feel like I've lost a little bit of my trail of thought because of that first recording essence and scenario. Just checking here. Don't want the same thing to happen again. I feel like that was a prompt for me to check. So yesterday I was feeling really sorry for myself, like I said, and really questioning like, what am I really here to like create or add, or because I'm not seeing things like financially, and everyone's like, oh, the value of, if you value yourself, the money will come, and the value of how you see yourself is how you attract the wealth. Hey guys, I know all of that stuff. Conceptually, I understand. I do. But life isn't working in this way for me at this point in time. And instead of me getting frustrated about it, and instead of me feeling like I'm not doing enough, because that's exactly what it starts to do. You have all these spiritual teachings and talkings that sometimes actually make you feel fucking worse than what you are already feeling. Instead of making you feel more inspired, they actually make you feel fucking disempowered. So yes, that's pretty much how I was feeling yesterday. Like, I'm not really contributing to society. Like, I need to be doing more. More. And yesterday, I guess, when the forest called me, I was reminded of 2 incidents which I'd like to share with you. So the first instance was the one day I was playing in the forest, literally in the depths of the forest, and I was jamming it out, and there was the most magnificent bright green snake that was probably maybe 50 meters away from me. And I carried on playing. I saw it from the corner of my eye, and I carried on playing for a few seconds, and it was like rhythmically moving. It was almost like he was like jamming it, I don't know if it was it he or she, but it was like rhythmically moving. Not coming towards me, keeping its distance, but just like coming up higher and higher, just like those king cobras do. And for those few seconds, I was equally as mesmerized by the snake as it felt like it was with the frequency or the vibration that was coming from this handpan. And then, of course, the reptilian brain kicks in and goes, motherfucker, that's a green snake. Is that a green mamba, or is that a fucking boomslang? And if you know anything about those 2 snakes, you know that those snakes mean business. So the reptilian brain kicked in, and I very slowly put my pan down and just climbed very slowly onto the chair, which was located and situated just behind me. He kind of like watched me, observed what I was doing, and then slithered into the forest. That was the first story I want to share with you. The second story, also with my lovely handpan called Pan. I was playing in the park adjacent to the forest, and I was jamming it out, feeling, just enjoying the day. It was a beautiful, crisp, clean day, and it's taken me a while to get to this point where I can actually just enjoy the day and just be in nature without feeling guilty about it. Okay, so that's already like a huge step for me. So when my life changed and transitioned, the fact that I was just going out into nature and just being there for an hour or 2 and dancing or playing or walking, I felt so overridden with guilt. It's like I could hear, I was going to say my mom, but God bless her heart and soul, she just did the best she could. I understand that. But it's almost like society, right? In my ear, in the back going, bitch, you should be washing dishes. You should be cleaning something. You should be working. You should be contributing. You should be behind the computer, bitch. What the fuck are you doing? Walking, doing nothing. Oh, how is this contributing? How are you earning a revenue? like that kind of chatter, okay? So it's taken me a really long time to just get to this point where I feel somewhat more comfortable and at ease being in these spaces without any apology. Goes back to my story. So here I was in the park playing my pan, and this fabulous little, probably 5 or 6 year old girl is very curious. She's with her mom and her younger, probably 2 year old brother. And she's ushering, you know how kids are, that like slowly make their way, just like the snake, like slowly starts making their way closer and closer and closer. And she had these 2 huge banana leaf trees with her. You can clearly see that I'm a visual storyteller because I like detail. So she had these 2 beautiful banana leaf trees, leaves with her from the tree that she probably just taken from. And she put them on the chair because she didn't want to dirty her beautiful dress and her frock, right? Just checking if this is on. And there she sat on the chair, and she sat there for a while by herself. I was playing my tune, just keep jamming out, and she came and she sat there, and she was just listening without saying a word, just swinging her cute little legs and just listening and watching me with just with this absolute, like, I really felt like I was playing for her. She eventually called her mom over and her broski, and they sat there for quite some time. And it was so beautiful. I could just see she was really enjoying it. I felt a little self-conscious, but I got over that very quickly. And she came up to me when I took a bit of a break, and she said, I'm very curious about the instrument and if she can touch it and just see what kind of sounds it makes when she touches it. And needless to say, her mother had to literally drag her away at the end of it. I actually was like, I actually said, I'm also going, I was like, no, I also have to go. I've got, like, my mom's there for tea and I need to go because, I also need to go. And then she was like, oh, okay, she's going and you can go also. So it was really special. And a couple of months, like 8 months later, you're probably wondering, why the fuck am I telling you this story? Here's why. So 8 months later, I was getting a coffee and I recognized her dad, and her dad recognized me. And we're just waiting in line, getting our little takeaway coffees there. And he turns to me and he says, do you know that my daughter refuses to go to sleep every night unless she has the sound of the hand pan playing in the background? So she likes the sound of that noise, and she can't sleep unless it's serenading her to sleep. Okay. That's my wonderful helper in the background. Thank God for her. She's a big help. So yes, there he was telling me how she needs a handpan sound to fall asleep. And I was just filled with just so much, like, appreciation. And for that moment, and this is perhaps why I've been called to share this, to remind myself, is that, so often we feel we need to be doing stuff that society deems more socially acceptable, or that we've been indoctrinated to believe we need to do, because that's just the way society functions. And it's very challenging for you to break outside of that box and for you to venture in a very different path and follow your intuition, follow your innate knowingness in this life, especially surrounded in a world and in a place where there is so much noise telling you the opposite. And him sharing the story just reminded me of how we are always at the right place at the right time. We are always doing exactly what we need to do. Life is just in complete serendipitous, perfect design. We don't even know it. You're very fortunate if you are conscious enough to see it. Otherwise, you're just kind of like going through life and just letting the motions, you're just going through the motions, as they say. So yes, that little event, both with the green snake and with this fabulous little girl who has now taken to listening to handpan music, serenaded to sleep every night, was something that I really held sacred in my heart. And it was just a very powerful reminder of how we are on the paths that we are on, because we don't know the magic that we're meant to inject in people's hearts. And we don't know why we've been called to do something. It may not make sense in this immediate juncture and point in time in life. But if we trust in the process and we trust in what is calling us to do what we need to do from a space of authenticity and from a space of connection, one that is far beyond the logical mind, but something that resides very sacred and deep within the heart, then we just have to trust that. And that path is a very challenging path, like I said. I think about when I was called to start this self-directed or homeschooling with my boys. It was really not well accepted, let me tell you. Like, the names that were being called, the things that were being said, it was really challenging. I remember the first year when people asked me what school do the boys go, I was like, it was so hard for me to even answer that question because I was still in this process of awkwardness, But yeah, here we are 6 years on and there's no regrets. How often do you really regret something that you have done when you followed your heart? Hardly ever, right? Hardly ever. It only makes sense maybe 10 or 20 or 40 if you're blessed enough years later when the puzzle pieces just start to all fall into place. And then you're like, oh, no wonder that happened. Oh, no wonder I did this. No wonder if I hadn't have done this, then this wouldn't have happened, But when you're in that micro level, you don't see the macro level. You don't see that bigger picture. So yes, you magical and delicious and wondrous humans, I hope that this message came through as clearly as I hope it did, or as clearly as I wanted it to, in the fact that this is the second recording. And what was shared in my first recording may not be in the second recording and vice versa. But alas, here we are, 17 minutes in. And this is, I guess, just a reminder from me to you to just keep trusting your heart, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard, especially when you get those voices in your head telling you that, you're not good enough, or what's the point, or you're amounting to nothing. Like nonsense, guys. It's just fucking nonsense. Well, you need to check in with yourself. Is there truth to it? Is there legitimate truth? Do you need to look at yourself in the mirror and be like, girl, is there truth in this? Because if there's no truth, then just let it go away. You know what I'm saying? Just actually just fuck off. Just please. I've been dealing with these thoughts for so long. They must actually just fuck the fuck off now, actually. Okay. It's really, it's enough. It's so enough. I've seen so much evidence to support my journey and to support where I'm going and to support the vision that I have. I have big visions. Okay. So, yes. And just trust that where I am now is exactly where I need to be. So the right people can find me, so the right people can see me, so that I can develop in my own beingness the things that I need to develop in my own space, in my own time, experiencing the emotions that I need to experience and navigate what I need to navigate. So same goes for you. So with that being said, 1830, remember to keep sowing those seeds, allowing for the flow and magic of life to find you so that you can ultimately grow, illuminate, and flow. Just checking if my sound's on. My sound's still fabulous. Glad I won't be retaking this one. Until tomorrow's episode 38, stay magical, stay brilliant, and until then,